بعين المستوحشين منها آمالك عنها مكفوفة وهمتك عن زينتها مصروفة وألحاظك عن بهجتها مطروفة. صل على محمد وآل محمد. The Imam of the time, to whom we sacrifice our souls and our ajsam and our ajsad and our zahir and our batin, to whom we sacrifice and will be able to sacrifice our muhja at his feet, inshallah. He describes his grandfather, Abu Abdullah, in the following way. He says, your sujood and your ruku' was tawil, it was long. You were estranged from this world. Arahil anha, you were estranged from this world, traveling like a traveler away from it. You were traveling away from this world. Everyone was traveling to it, but you were traveling away from it. You looked into this world بعين المستوحشين منها, with an eye of such that you were estranged and lonely in this world. Everyone else is eating and having fun and making merry, but you are estranged and gharib in this dunya. Subhanallah, this description is incredible. Amaluka anha makfufa. Your hopes with regards to the world were very limited, very, very limited. You put little hope on this world. You relied very little or not at all on this world. وَهِمَّتُكَ عَنْ زِينَتِهَا مَصْرُوفًا. And the efforts that you expended were never aimed at taking advantage of the beauties and the grandeur of this world. Your himma had nothing to do with the zina of this dunya. It's an amazing, amazing description. It's hard to translate it exactly. It's the way it should be, but as I say, every translation is an interpretation, and there's always something lost in translation. And your glances, your alhav, concerning the bahja of this world, the delights of this world, were very limited or not at all. Matrufa, yani. Meaning you didn't even glance at it. While everyone else's eyes are glued wide open, obsessing over their wealth and obsessing over the opposite gender and obsessing over climbing, and now here I'm moving to the modern world, climbing a corporate ladder, never content with what they have, ready to flush their family down the toilet, their marriage down the toilet, their children down the toilet for the dollar. But our Imam and his followers, their alhadh were not towards the bahjat of this dunya, it was towards the akhirah. As I say, their worldview was akhirah centric. Their worldview, the way they saw the world and everything in it and everything about it and everyone in it, had the akhirah at its center as a determining factor in everything that they did, not the bahjat of the dunya. And this is what differentiates Hussein ibn Ali and his Ansar from the others. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And we have quite a bit to get through tonight, so I ask your forgiveness if I go 2 or 4 minutes over. because I want to finish a very important subject tonight so we can move on to another subject the next night rather than continuing to carry on the same subject. This reminded me when I read this beautiful description of Imam Zaman, rather written by the Imam of our time describing his grandfather. I started thinking about what does this description of Imam al-Hussein mean to us today, in our world today? And then I came across the verse, Ya ayyuhal insan ma gharraka bi rabbika al-kareem. O mankind, human beings, what is it that has deluded you from your kind Lord, from your Kareem Lord? What is my point here? Brothers and sisters, human beings, especially in the West, but also in the East, are today the most arrogant than they have ever been. People give no thanks. If you ask someone, have you thanked God, they'll laugh in your face. They'll say, what are you talking about? What do you mean? If you constantly thank God, you're a fundamentalist, aren't you? You're crazy, you're an extremist, you're one of those religious people. People consume, and consume. Take advantage of the healthcare, take advantage of these amazing processes in this universe. They build a Hubble telescope to look at the corners of the cosmos, but they never say, Subhanallah. I did it. I built the telescope. I can see into the cosmos. But when someone sings a beautiful song, they stand up and they start clapping, don't they? But when they see the grandeur of God's creation, who stands up and says, Allahu Akbar, God is great, God is glorified? You know why? Because in the 1960s, the anthropologists, you know what they said? And this applied even to the Christians as well. God is dead. Dead to them. Gone. I built the Hubble telescope. I did this. I did this. أنا فعلت هذا وهذا وهذا وكذا وكذا. Human beings have taken God, removed him from this universe, and have now begun to attribute things to themselves. But even worse than this, we live in a society, and I'm not joking here, we live in a society of hot dog eating competitions in which people jump off airplanes for fun, in which intelligent people drop massive drone missiles from 30,000 feet in the air. This world and the people in it, in the East and the West, I'm sorry to say, waste their time in what? And I'm not joking here. Go on YouTube and you'll just look at how useless, how people are in a complete state of ghurur. Complete ghurur. Cockroach eating competitions. Water drinking. In fact, recently someone died of a water drinking competition because she drank so much water in a competition, it upset her electrolytes and she died. People have nothing better to do with their life. Useless. Uncontrollable violent lust. Senseless murder and abuse of children. Isn't this happens every day, every single day? And these are supposedly people that are brought up as Christians. These are not atheists necessarily. These are people that have maybe been baptized, go to church, want to be married in a church. And unfortunately, Muslims as well can't claim that they're not involved in this kind of activity as well. We're surrounded by a satanic culture of music which encourages adultery and foul language. This is the state of ghurur of mankind. They have taken all of this, filled their life with it, and removed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Removed the Lord, their creator. They fill it with ilhad and atheism and nonsense and ghina and kada wa kada. An uncontrollable shahwa, uncontrollable, with no limit. And even with violence involved in those areas as well now. There's, as the saying goes, the Sikh saying goes, work hard and play hard. Who invented this satanic concept? Meaning work hard and sin hard. What is this idea of work hard and play hard? What is this kind of sick, barbaric idea? But have we not heard this saying before? The bankers on Wall Street say, work hard and play hard. Work at the bank at night, and at night, doing other despicable, disgusting things. Oh, but they're civilized, aren't they? Inshallah, they drive Mercedes-Benz, 3-piece suit, maybe even have master's degrees, PhDs, make lots of money. And they pour it down a bottle. This is the state of ghurur of humanity. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling us to remember and to wake up to, and to tell us as well, and the message of Imam al-Hussein to tell us as well, that Muslims are not immune. That by saying the shahada, that is not an immunity shot against falling in to this culture of ilhad, of atheism and irtidad and kufr and fisq and nifaq. No. Taking the shahada is not an immunity shot. We know that. If we've learned anything from the story and the life of Abu Abdullah, we know that the shahada itself is not an immunity shot, nor is claiming to be a Shia. Let's look at the leaders today. I don't mean to go on and on, but just when you read the news, it's so distressing. The mayor of Toronto, and the people, some. What is going on in this world? Where is the ghurur? The people are in a state of massive ghurur, massive delusion and illusion and sickness, amrad. Their hearts are full of sickness. Leaders doing cocaine. The governor of New York falling into how many affairs with escorts? The top actresses and politicians, each of them divorce after talaq, ba'da talaq, ba'da talaq. Am I right or am I wrong? But no, we want to be told that this is a symbol of civilization. This is a symbol of modernity. This is what it means to be progressed. This is what it means to be modern. This is what it means to be secular. This is what it means to take part in the democratic process. This is ghurur. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling us to tell us, Ma gharrakum. What is wrong with you? Where have you gone, ya ayyuhal insan? Whether you are Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, where has a sense of decency gone? I remember one professor of Christianity telling me, I'm not kidding, a professor who used to be a priest, who then became a very vile thing. I won't say it from the member. Something which is related to the Qawm of Lut. And he was saying in one of his classes in one of the universities, I asked him, I said, as a Christian, I'm not saying all Christians believe this. This is not the message of the Bible. This is not the message of Christianity. But unfortunately, this is where we have come. I asked him, I said, as a priest, what would you do on the weekend when you're not at church on Sunday? He said, we would drink ourselves silly. I said, what? He said, yes. We would drink and do everything we do during the week, and on Sunday we would come to church and do the Mass. I said, but you're a priest. You're a priest. He said, this is the West. Religion is on Sunday. During the week I engage in this kufr and fisq. And we want to be told that this is the modern way, that this is the way forward, this is a progressive way. If we want to be educated and civilized, then we have to emulate these role models. The role models of Tiger Woods, wa abna'ahu, on and on, the fasiqeen. What kind of role models do the children in our community have? Do they know what kind of lives these people live? How everything they do is a representation of Shaitan himself? Their life is a representation of Shaitan himself? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhal insan, ma gharraka bi rabbika al-kareem. Oh mankind, where have you gone off the tracks? Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So how do we give thanks? We begin by appreciating this ruh and this soul that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْحَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. That we appreciate from Allah that He has given us a soul. He has inspired our soul to know what will corrupt it and what will purify it. The successful ones are the ones who purify it, not the ones who work hard and play hard. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. The one who does tazkiyah of their nafs in this world is the one that is successful. This, my brothers and sisters, if I can get anything across to you in these 10 nights, success is determined by this standard. Not by my degree, not by my suit, not by my status, not by whether I'm a governor or I'm a mayor or whether I'm an actress or a professional athlete. My dear Shabab, this is not success. They want you to think it's success. They want to delude you to think that this is what success is. This is the grand game that they are playing. And we Muslims need to sound the alarm bell from the mountaintops. Our Christian and Jewish brothers have already done this, and they've been struggling for 50 years, 75 years on these issues. Our righteous Christian and Jewish brothers, those who are struggling. We need to come to life and know these things. Not only transmit historical facts, but know what they mean to us today. If not, I am sorry to say, but we will lose an entire generation of Muslims. Gone. Because God does not change the state of a community until they change themselves. Allah has promised. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And we must set out to discover the verse, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبِ. With Allah is the east and the west. فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. Wherever you turn, you shall find the face of God. What does this mean? Is it a physical face? No, God doesn't have a physical face. What is God saying? That to God is the east and the west. Wheresoever we turn, we will find the face of Allah. What does this mean? The Mufassirun have explained two things that are important to come from this. One, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His consciousness of Him is present in every single act of my life. Every khatwa, every step of my life is filled with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's remembrance. There is no such thing as a saying goes, an hour for my heart, an hour for my Lord. I think it's a saying from the Middle East, isn't it? A very fasiq, nifaki attitude to have, of course. No. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ أَيْنَمَا تَوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. Wheresoever you turn, you will find the face of God. There is no hour with God and hour without God. All 24 hours are God's alone, and we are with Him in all 24 hours. Every element of our life is filled with the remembrance that can only do this because God has given me the tawfiq and the grace and the blessings for me to do this. Whether that's simple as taking notes in the front, coming and sitting here, driving my car here, making my dinner, going to work, whatever it is, I give thanks for it. And I stand on the mountaintops and say, Allahu Akbar. I go as high to the mountain and I will yell, Allahu Akbar, labbaik ya Allah. I am not shy to do it. I am not shy to say, Ya Allah, here I am. Ya Hussein, here I am. Because I give everything to you. Ufawwidu amri ilayk. I take my affair and I hand it over to you. This is what it means. فَأَيْنَمَا تَوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. It also means that I seek your rida and your satisfaction in every act of my life. I don't do anything, even going to the washroom, except that I seek your rida and your satisfaction with me. There is no moment of my life which is mundane, as they want us to think that there's a sacred time and a mundane time. Right? That our life is divided into two parts, right? As they say. Play and everything else. These are satanic, shaitani conceptions and ideas and phrases. They shall never even enter our tongue, come from our tongues or enter our hearts or our minds. These kinds of phrases and ideologies is what sets the iman on fire. Iman is gone, khalas, once this mentality begins. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We are on a journey in our life, and we will seriously begin to think about why I exist, where I am going, and who are the companions that I want to be with on this sabil to Allah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That I am constantly worried about those three things. Where have I come from? What is my asal? What is my origin? Where I am going? And who are the companions that will hold my hand along the Sirat al-Mustaqim? I select my friends carefully. I select my spouse carefully. I am very careful in engineering my family environment in such a way so the people that are with me share my values and they share the desire to reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they share a desire to purify their soul. If the people around me, my ashab, my ansar, my asdiqa, do not share these values with me, then I would rather travel the path alone, and that's why Ahlul Bayt had to travel alone. Why is it that we recite in Dua al-Iftitah, قِلَّةَ عَدَدِنَا وَكَثْرَةَ عَدُوِّنَا? Why? We are few, but our enemies are many. Brothers and sisters, the path of the tariq of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad may be a lonely one. We should not be under any false premise to think that when I take the road of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, that I'm going to have many ashab on this road with me. I will not. This is a fact of the Qur'an. أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. We cannot expect everyone to come with us on the tariq. And if I must take the road to Allah alone, I am ready to do it. The ghurur comes in when we tell ourselves that for the sake of unity, for the sake of friendship, I'm ready to delay my salat. I'm ready to miss fajr. I'm ready to compromise on the ahkam. I'm ready to compromise on my aqeedah in the name of keeping friends. There's one thing to have colleagues. That's one thing. Fine, no problem. Being civil, being nice to people, sitting, meeting each other, that's fine. But when we form the inner circle of our life, the people that we truly rely upon, we have to ask ourselves, are they on the tariq with me? Am I on the tariq to begin with? If I'm not on the tariq, then that's a big problem. But if, inshallah, I am on the tariq to Allah, the tariq of Ahlul Bayt, who are those that are in my circle that are traveling with me as a salik to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And if we don't watch out for our children in this regard, then we are to blame. We are to blame. We will be mas'ool in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to teach our children that the road to Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad is not a popular road. It's not the road of the famous. It's not the road of those who have a lot of friends. Because for us, the akhirah is khayrun wa abqa. It is better and it is everlasting. This dunya is but like a blink of an eye. We will come in it and we will leave it. It will begin and end as fast as it began. This is the world view and the mentality and the hal of the Shia of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. And when we look at a book like Sahifa Sajadiyah, which I truly believe is a product of Ashura, it's a product of the fourth Imam's experience on the 10th of Muharram, which was translated into the Sahifa Sajadiyah. It's a reflection of the most innermost sadness and buka and huzn and jaza in his heart. What happened to it? We have the Sahifa Sajadiyah. What does our Imam say in Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq? وَكْفِنِي مَا يَشْغُلُنِي الْإِحْتِمَامُ بِهِ وَاسْتَعْمِلْنِي بِمَا تَسْأَلَنِي غَدًا عَنْهُ. Make me sufficient to be occupied with that which is of ihtimam to me, important to me. And make me busy and work for that which you will ask me. مَا تَسْأَلَنِي غَدًا. Make me work and be busy with what you will ask me tomorrow. يعني بعد الموت. Let me invest the most of my efforts into that which you will ask about me when I am 6 feet under in the ground, wrapped in my kafan. These are the priorities brought forth to us from the A'immah. Salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Ihtimam doesn't only mean important. In fact, Sayyid Ali Khan Shirazi in his commentary on the Sahifa, he says that it actually means, its cognate word is i'tina, with ihtimam. meaning something which I put an immense amount of effort into, to cultivate it, to raise it, in the same way that I would raise a child, a baby. Put every effort into feeding it on time, nursing it, clothing it, him or her, rocking it, putting it to bed, watching it night and day. Do we give the same ihtimam to our nafs, to our soul, to our iman? The Ahlul Bayt is telling us that we better do it, because this is a tariq of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. The tariq of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad is walillahi al-mashriq wal-maghrib. فَأَيْنَمَا تَوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. This is the tariq of Ahlul Bayt. A life in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His ni'mah and His blessings and His barakah is the center of everything that I do. And constantly my lips do not stop giving thanks to Him. When I'm at work, when I'm in the car, before I go to bed, when I wake up, my lips do not stop giving Him thanks. This is what it means to find the face of Allah wheresoever you turn. There's a beautiful hadith of Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam where he says, this is amazing. This is a really, really powerful tradition. Brothers and sisters, it's incredible. Listen to this from the sixth Imam. He says, يا فضيل ابن يسار إنه من كان حمه حما واحدا كفاه الله حمه. The one who has صلي على محمد وآل محمد. The one who has one concern in his life, one desire, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make this one ham enough for him. وَمَنْ كَانَ حَمَّهُ فِي كُلِّ وَادٍ لَمْ يُبَالْ اللَّهُ فِي أَيْ وَادٍ حَلَكَ. But the one who puts his hopes in every valley, meaning a little bit with Allah, a little time elsewhere. Meaning I'm not truly completely committed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometime for Allah, sometime for my heart. The one who chooses to take this road, the Imam says the least God will care as to which valley destroyed him, when he tries to create a diversified investment in his life. Meaning, for the sake of moving up the corporate ladder, I believe Allah is Raziq. I believe He provides for me, but in this case, I have to attend a dance party where alcohol is being served. No, but Allah's Razaq. I know, but I have to do it. This is what it means for your ham to be split up in different places, because we're not truly reliant on Allah. Our tawheed, our la ilaha illallah is not true. It's not full. It's not the kind of tawheed which is expected from the imams that we come here to cry for and cry over. صلي على محمد وآل محمد. Furthermore, this hadith has two important meanings. One, the Imam is truly concerned and worried for our souls. He is truly worried as to how we will end up in our life. Our Imam is concerned as to in what state will he meet us on the Day of Judgment. Will he be able to be our Shafi' or not? The Imam cries over us, imagine, over the state of his Shia. Because when his Shia do not make God the center of their life, it doesn't matter how much matam they did, how much they cried, how many majalis they attended, there will be no shafa'ah for them. Ahlul Bayt were very clear. لا تطلبوا الشفاعة منا, Imam As-Sadiq says about the Muthnibun. In Al-Kafi, it's wadi, very clear. These are the shurut. The Imam said, لا تطلبوا الشفاعة منا. Do not seek the shafa'at from us on the Day of Judgment if we do not follow these conditions. And this all begins with having Allah at the beginning, the middle, and the end of everything that I do. Otherwise, this is all a fanfare. Nothing else, really. Because the Imams have told us and given us beautiful guidance as to the kind of life that they want us to live. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And this also means that we will be asked regarding the things that we did and the things that we failed to do. We will be asked if we knew the Prophet was a mercy to the worlds, if we knew he was uswatun hasana, the best example, then what did we learn about his seerah? Did we ever learn about how he treated his wives? Did we ever learn about how he did business? Did we ever learn about how he ate? Did we take time out of our life to learn about the seerah of those whom we want to seek shafa'ah from? Or do, God forbid, نحن نعوذ من هذا, do we want the shafa'ah without the learning? The shafa'ah without the knowledge of the seerah of the Ahlul Bayt? These are the things that we will be asked about in the grave and on the Day of Judgment. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. وَاسْتَفْرِغْ أَيَّامِي فِيمَا خَلَقْتَنِي لَهُ. And the Imam goes on to say, and reserve my day, meaning what stuff istifragh literally means to remove something and fill it with something else. To evacuate something. Meaning evacuate my days and put in it actions which will fulfill the purpose of my existence in this world. فِيمَا خَلَقْتَنِي لَهُ. There's a beautiful tradition of the Prophet which really hit me, really hit home to me. Brothers and sisters, this tradition is just, it's incredible, and it's in the early sources, مَنْ لَا يَحْضَرُ الْفَقِيهِ of Saduq and many other sources. It's an akhlaqi tradition anyways. Where the Prophet says, أَفْضَلَ النَّاسِ إِيمَانًا أَحْسَنُهُمْ خُلُقًا. That the people who have the best of faith are the ones who have the best khuluq, the best behavior. They know how to treat others, how to speak to others. They're not rude to others. وَأَكْرَمُ النَّاسِ أَتْقَاهُمْ. We know this part. I don't need to translate it. But now here's the kicker. Here's the climax. Listen to this. This is incredible. أَعْظَمُ النَّاسِ قَدْرًا. The greatest of qadr. You know, the most powerful of people. The person with the greatest ability. مَنْ تَرَكَ مَا لَا يَعْنِيهِ. The one who doesn't get involved in business which doesn't concern him. Imagine, أَعْظَمُ النَّاسِ قَدْرًا is the one who does not get involved in things that are not of his or her business. Imagine, subhanallah, if it doesn't concern you, our akhirah or our immediate family, then it's not our business. Unless the person wants to make it our business, or unless there's some important social reason for it to be my business. Otherwise, it's nothing but fire to the soul. It's like taking a Zippo, pouring gasoline all over my soul and lighting it on fire. It's equivalent to that. Useless. The soul is useless. It's deaf and dumb and blind once it takes part in gossip of who married whom and who divorced whom and all of this garbage. أعظم ناس قدرا من ترك ما لا يعنيه. صلي على محمد وآل محمد. Look how the Prophet speaks about what it means to be a human being. Do we ever think about what it means to be a human? What does it mean to be a real human being, a true human being, al-insan? Right here, the Prophet just described it for us. This reminds me of two very beautiful and important ayat, verses from the Qur'an. One in Surah Kahf and one in Surah Taha. Or rather, three in Surah Taha and one in Surah Kahf. I won't be able to finish them all tonight because I only have 10 minutes. But I'll start it and tomorrow night we'll finish it, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in ayah number 7, and you know what, honestly, brothers and sisters, if we really want to take something from these nights, in 2 or 3 weeks from now, I would like to randomly ask some people here about one verse or one hadith of the 10 nights of the lectures, especially the shabab. This is not entertainment. We are here to reform our souls. You know, one scholar once remarked, he was in a huge gathering. He was giving a lecture, 1-hour lecture. And the scholar stops and he looks at the audience and he sees all the ladies with pens and paper. And he sees the men with no pens and paper. And he said, either everything is understood, wadih, clear, mafhum, ma'loom, or we got a problem. So now I'm going to quote the ayah with that important caveat and preamble ahead of it. So I want these ayat of the Qur'an to become a part of our life, to become a part of what is important to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna ja'alna ma'ala al-arda zinatan laha. That we have made what is on the earth a beautiful and attractive thing for human beings. The opposite gender, wealth, jewelry, power, position, all of it. لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ أَيَّهُمْ أَحْسَنَ عَمَلًا. Why? So to test them and see at the end of the day which of them did the best of deeds. Which of us will be animals, which of us will be beasts. Which of us will be mu'min, which of us will be kafir. Which of us will be true Shia, and which of us will die only as muhib, but not Shia. أيهم أحسن عملا. This world is a grand test. And it's up to us to know and to train ourselves not to be duped by the message of ghurur and delusion which is out there. And it is up to us to be concerned with the right things. I'll end with one example and then I'll just do a few minutes of masa'ib, inshallah. And this is a really important example, and we'll continue this tomorrow night. I think this is extremely important, brothers and sisters. If a husband and wife come to this country, or they're born here, or whatever, they have to make a decision. How much money is enough for us and our children to live and feed ourselves and satisfy our daily needs? Fine, fair enough. But we have to understand clearly the difference between necessity and luxury. Why? Because I've seen it too many times. A $300,000 mortgage becomes a $500,000 mortgage. A $500,000 mortgage now means my wife has to work full time. Because we wanted the extra backyard, the bigger rooms, the higher ceilings, whatever it may be that we wanted from the home. But now that means that my wife or me have to work multiple jobs, and my children are raised on the sabil of cable TV and the ghurur and the message out there. If I'm lucky, they are not, but Allahu alam. If I'm not at home, I don't know what's going on. This is the test of this world. أَيُّهُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Which of us will stop at a point and say, khalas, this is enough? بِقَسَمِقَ رَاضِعًا قَانِعًا, as we read in Dua Kumail, that I am truly content and happy with what you have given me. وَفِي جَمِيعَ الْأَحْوَالِ مُتَوَاضِعًا. We read these du'as, we read them all the time. But the test of this world is what? To see how we make decisions. And brothers and sisters, we will be mas'ool for every decision that we make. And that decision will set off a series of chain reactions. And when my son or daughter reaches 25 or 30 or 18 or 16, 17, it's too late. Believe you me, I work with children. I know. I'm in counseling. I know this. I see these things. I deal with it every day. I've grown up here. It's too late. Gone. There's no ta'weez, there's no dua, and there's no miracle at that point. We can always hope from Allah, but if we didn't invest the right things at the beginning, we will be mas'ool. So it depends whether we are radi and qani' with what we have. صل على محمد وآل محمد. Tonight I apologize, I will go 3 or 4 minutes extra, but I just wanted to mention tonight, especially for those youth here, that on the day of Ashura, some of the greatest shuhada were the children and the teenagers. One of them was Abdullah ibn Muslim, whom we know went out into battle. His mother Ruqayya was there. And he was killed in such a way. Ibn Athir states in his tradition that as Abdullah put his hand on his head, he was a young man. As he put his hand on his head, the enemies fired an arrow which impaled his hand to his head. He tried to take the arrow off his head, but he couldn't. They surrounded him and began to stick spears into his neck, this young man, Abdullah. And he continued to fight, he continued to fight. Subhanallah. And then they began to trample his body with the horses. And then, you know what they did to him? Ibn Athir narrates in his history. This is Abdullah ibn Muslim. They set his body on fire. What kind of human beings are these that can set fire to the body of a child after killing him, after impaling his hand to his face? And these were the youth of Bani Hashim. Imagine. Yet they died, and their mothers welcomed them by saying, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. This was how their mothers welcomed them back to the khayma, their bodies when they came back to the tent of Imam Hussein. And these were all youth, and imagine where their perspective was. What was important to them, what mattered truly to them. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيْ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ.